Hey there, my name's Curtis Lucas and you're watching Empire Building. Now, I've been away for just a little while and what's going on in the markets right now is it's bananas. There is so much happening and it's extremely difficult to keep up with. And there's a whole lot I've been wanting to talk about and I just haven't been able to find the time between all of my other empire building activities. But all this craziness, if you've been following what's happening in the metaverse side of things and gaming tokens, they've been surging. But with all of this craziness that's going on, a thought crossed my mind. And I want to do an experiment in this video. This is going to be something that I think anybody can participate in. With everything that's going on, I start to ask myself, I'm somewhat consumed in this new world, this promising future that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies seems to have the potential to deliver. But I also realize that the more and more people I talk to that are not in this space, they just don't fully understand what this is and what it means. So this is the experiment, and this is meant to highlight the mindset of the Bitcoin investor and also identify whether or not this is still considered early. Here's what I want you to do. Open up a browser, go into Google search and start typing these words. I'm going to do it with you right now. Inside Google, start typing these words. Bitcoin investors are... The first hit, stupid. The first search suggestion that the Google algorithm can come up with is Bitcoin investors are stupid. Where do you think this is coming from? This is how the mainstream still view this technology. They don't even look at it as a technology. They just look at it as a silly game. And of course, it maybe doesn't help the case that a lot of the new developments in this space, especially the most successful ones, are in fact games, designed to be games. This is a strange world to be in. And depending on your poison of choice, I actually have nothing against these new gaming tokens that have become wildly popular. This last week, in fact, I'm kicking myself for not getting involved in one that I had caught my attention actually when I started doing my research into this, and that's a Gala token. I'm not going to turn this into some kind of token review video, but I originally caught my eye at around the price of 9 cents, and just today reached a little over 80 cents per token. And maybe I will talk about that project in some time because it's kind of an interesting story what led me towards it. But I'm going to save that for a different video. The point I'm getting at here is that the things that are happening right now can make this space quite difficult to invest in. It's not easy to keep your wits about you. And it's no surprise that within this space, it's led to such divisiveness and people separating themselves inside camps. There tends to be a lot of mud that gets slung around. But for those who are investing in Bitcoin, that community doesn't look at this as any kind of a game. It's very serious business. Most Bitcoin investors that I speak to view this as a positive force for transforming the future of humanity. They're very passionate about it. But investing in Bitcoin can be difficult. It requires a sense of focus on a singular target, pushing forward despite all the chaos that surrounds you, all the distractions and all the obstacles. You'll fall from time to time, but you're going to get back up. You're going to take another hit. over and over and over again, but you continue to get back up. This is what it can feel like to invest in Bitcoin in a world that doesn't accept it, that doesn't view or see its value. Sometimes the goal or the objective can even be obstructed from your view. You could find yourself in a pit of despair from time to time, thinking, what if you're wrong? What if somehow governments intervene and make it so difficult for this technology to flourish that investors or other users abandon it? Or what if you just picked the wrong time? These are questions that enter every single Bitcoin investor's mind at some point or another. And for me personally, when I'm struck with those kinds of questions, I have always reverted back to understanding the technology. And of course, it doesn't hurt to simply look back at its history and all of the obstacles it has already overcome. But I do recognize that the fight is far from over. At some point in Bitcoin's future, it's going to face the final boss. And I'm not going to get too much into that on this video, but it is an important topic that I will cover in the near future. But that final boss is nation states. Recently, there have been some comments by figures such as Hillary Clinton, who has expressed concern that while she didn't name Bitcoin by name, she just referred to all cryptocurrencies in general, but how they could have a destabilizing effect on the US dollar as the reserve currency of the world, and that these technologies could be used to disrupt this delicate balance that these nation states and the powerful have enjoyed for so many years. Make no mistake, this is not going to be clear sailing. Now, it's unclear when those types of market forces will begin to take effect, but it is coming. But I do think that as of right now, it is not a major fear that we need to necessarily be concerned with in terms of price action, at least in this next, in the completion of this cycle. But there will be some noise generated from that camp. But in the meantime, Bitcoin is still viewed as a property, a form of store of wealth. It's no more a threat to the US dollar than gold is at this point. It's become an investment tool. But it's an investment tool that does offend because it holds a promise to do far more than just that. Now, I know that this is kind of a different video than I've done lately. I haven't even mentioned Bitcoin mining stocks. But I do think that from time to time, it is important to sort of discuss these types of matters. And from time to time, I'm going to continue to do this because these are the kinds of issues that you really do need to bring yourself back to from time to time and think about it. Think about why we're here. Think about what we're trying to accomplish as a community, Bitcoin specifically. These are the things that can help keep you centered and focused when you start to get thrown around a little bit from time to time, as I mentioned earlier. As of the time I'm recording this, Bitcoin had just seemed to have hit a little bit of a resistance level. So we're actually going to look at the charts very briefly here. Bitcoin was showing a lot of strength going into the Thanksgiving holiday that our friends in the United States had just celebrated. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. I'm not going to lie, I got excited just like everybody else, most likely, thinking that this was probably a sign of a pretty good reversal. But it seems that the bears may not be entirely finished with us quite yet. Here we have the channel that we've been in for some time, since the new all-time high we formed a few weeks ago at $69,000. And we've been in this descending channel ever since. And the target that I've had in mind for quite some time was about the $53,000 level. And I still think that this level could very well be in play. And of course, none of this is guaranteed, but I'm only posing this as a possibility because it's something that you at least want to be prepared for mentally. Because the reality here is these levels, to me, would be a reassuring sign that if they can hold, then we're in the midst. We're getting prepared for a massive move. I think there's too many people that were expecting that the end of the year was going to just simply be a massive run right from September onward. And, well, honestly, that's never been the case. There's always been pullbacks. This one's really no different. I've pointed out before in our original rally way back earlier in the year, or even in, mostly in December and January of last year or earlier this year. We were looking at multiple pullbacks that were equivalent to 50% of the previous run-up. So I've shown that before, that the retracements that we went through around this area, so on and so on, those retracements were equivalent to about 50% of the previous run. And we can do the exact same measurement, and I've shown this before, but we'll do it again. This last run-up had a 50% retracement, slightly more than a 50% retracement. And then, so if we do the exact same calculation in this last rally from the bottom that we previously formed to this new top at $69,000, the 50% retracement coincides with the 54,000 and the golden ratio at 50,855. So I would not be surprised to see this retracement, this falling channel, find its completion somewhere around this range. It also coincides with the $1 trillion market cap, which I'm hoping my call that Bitcoin will probably maintain that as strong support for multitudes of reasons. One, that was the former resistance. It's a pretty key level, almost exactly at $53,000. And on top of that, you can see from the chart that I've been observing for some time, we've got a massive cup and handle formation that appears to be possibly completing here. And in my research on cup and handle formations, this is a pretty nice looking one. I mean, it's not a perfect, the tops are not perfectly aligned, but that's relatively normal. And the handle formation usually accounts for about a third of the total run-up on the right side of this cup. Coincidentally, that 1/3 mark brings us down to almost exactly the same level yet again. So the point here is that we have multiple signals all pointing to the same general region that I would put somewhere between, at the very worst case, slightly above 50,000, but certainly probably below 54,000. Somewhere in that range would be the optimum time to be adding to any position. And that's what I'm going to be looking to do. Now, if I happen to be wrong, and we've already found our bottom and it's all clean sailing from here, well, so be it. I'm obviously completely fine with that too. But if I'm looking for the best opportunity, then sometimes a little bit of patience is required. And it also does wonders for your mindset. While watching the price drop, you're no longer afraid. You're excited because you know this technology isn't going anywhere. And cheaper prices only mean greater opportunity. Now, Google's algorithm may suggest that mentality that Bitcoin investors have is stupid. But I'd say Bitcoin's history and its results speak for themselves. Pioneers rarely need nor seek out the approval of others. Most geniuses in history were viewed as idiots at some point in their lives. People from the outside were sure that they would fail because they've never seen anybody do it before. And Bitcoin represents something that has never existed in human history. And the one thing that I'm sure of is that 10 years from now, if Google is still around, and you search the words Bitcoin investors are, the first hit is not going to be stupid. That's all for this one. Now let's get back to empire building.